This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peter Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
Week number 7 of the Texas high school football season. Yep. Some teams are more than halfway through. Of course, everyone's going to play 10 games, a game or two that might get postponed or whatever because of weather. But we're getting now into the thick where every game matters towards who makes the playoffs, what seed they are, Division I or Division II, from 2A all the way, or 6-man, all the way up to 6A. Hi, David Smoak. Garrett Ross is here as always, running the high school football podcast. We appreciate him doing that. Thanks to our sponsors of Peter Chevrolet, who we have, and Batteries Plus. We appreciate what they do all of the time with us as well. Plus Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine, Bubba's 33, Sturdy Steel, and Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We will hear from Longview football coach John King on his return to the Lobos. He was in the press box in their huge win against Rockwall in district play. We'll have him on the show today. We'll also hear from former Big Sandy quarterback Gary Chalk. It's the 50th anniversary of what is among the top 1, 2, or 3 most dominant statistically and everything else football teams in the entire history of this great state of Texas, the 1975 Big Sandy football team. More on that with Gary. He'll join us on the show today. But we do this as well. The best wins of last week, or a few that caught my attention, just a handful. One, I did the broadcast with Midway and Shoemaker. Midway wins the game 66-49. And early on, Shoemaker scored like on the 3rd play of the game. They have tremendous team. Toby Foreman's done a great job with them. But eventually, Andrew McNair throws for 323 yards, 23 of 25 passing, throws a couple of 3 touchdowns, runs for 1. Lathan Wissington put on a show, the running back, the junior who can go anywhere he wants. And it was a nice win for Midway after losing that district opener to Harker Heights. They win 66-49. Summer Creek, we knew this would be good. Summer Creek and Atascocita. Summer Creek winning 38-35. How about Aledo and Denton Ryan? 15-14. Aledo gets the win. Lufkin, what Carl Epsek is doing at Lufkin, they had a nice win against Westbrook, 26-21. And then I saw this one too. Chilton, they not only beat Mart, but man, Mart's struggling right now with Chris Lancaster. His first year there, will try to turn it around. 34-0 Chilton. By the way, it's the first time they have beaten Mart since August 29th of 2009, 16 years ago, when they beat Mart in Chilton 39-16. Mart had won 9 consecutive meetings between the two, but Chilton got that win dominant 34-0. You know, we have featured some great individuals. Before we get to my notes about Kagan Ash, Rylan Morris, who we had on the Stanford commit from Honey Grove, didn't put up big stats, but he did return a blocked field goal, 108 yards for a touchdown. He had 78 yards, 6 carries. They blew out Como-Picton 53-19. But Kagan Ash, the running back at Mount Enterprise, continues to climb the charts in Texas high school football history. He had 237 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns, had 7 tackles, a sack, beat Cushing 52-8. Now, here's what all of that means. We're going to try to keep up with him because now we're talking about top 10 all-time, if not already in the top 10 in some categories. All-time career rushing yards. Not going to get to Kenneth Hall, but he is moving up the charts. He's now at 8,012 yards. That should be something. He jumps ahead of 10, maybe gets into the top 8 or 7 before the end of the weekend. He still has, he's played 5 games, still has at least 5 left, plus whatever Mount Enterprise can do in the postseason. Now, that's through 5 games. Now, the all-time career points scored, he's already in the top 10. And look at this. There is a really good chance that he ends up number 2 all-time behind Jonathan Gray. Not going to be able to catch Jonathan Gray. But remember, this is a young man that has scored about 4 to 6 touchdowns a game. He's at 840. If he sneezes, he goes past the great Robert Strait from Cuero. Maybe this weekend can catch Jared Martin from Salina. And who knows, in a week or two, Traylon Shedd out of Cayuga. And then there's Kenneth Hall. So there is where he is. He has 123 career touchdowns, 117 rushing, 4 receiving, 1 fumble return for a touchdown, 1 interception return for a touchdown. And here's another kicker, 100 points by 2-point conversions. He is on his way up the chart. Well, before I get to my next story, this is something I saw from this morning. I had been alerted by this. Christian Villarreal from Ozona. His head coach is Jason Pitts. We had Jason on last year. He was the head coach in that great run by New Diana up near Longview, and he now is at Ozona, and he's got a running back. Christian Villarreal has 1,772 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns in 5 games. He is averaging 17.9 yards a carry and 354 yards per game. He is on pace. Now, again, that doesn't mean he'll do it, but he's on pace. The record for single-season rushing yards, we showed that to you earlier the year, 4,045 in 1953 by the great Kenneth Hall at Sugarland. Watch for that one. We'll be watching that ourselves with Christian Villarreal. One note about an injury that was frightening. Lexington and Caldwell ended their game last week at 28 apiece. They just stopped the game because there was an injury with Lexington wide receiver. And let me see here. Jurian Moore. He was hit, tackled, went face first into the turf. At the same time, he had a knee, one of those things that happens when it's football, to the neck and back of the head. Was not a hard hit. He's in the hospital. They are going through treatment. There's physical therapy. Coach Kirk Mole shared some notes with me. I don't want to get too detailed into it, but one of the quotes was, his hand movement is good, spirits high, funny as ever, very positive, misses his school, friends, and also football, but he is still in ICU, so prayers out to Jurian Moore because he still has a lot of work to do, and there's, of course, swelling around the spine, so good luck with his recovery. Now, best team I ever seen, 1983 Dangerfield. You've heard me discuss that story. Dennis Alexander, they were 16-0. First team ever to go 16-0. First, they had 14 shutouts, 13 straight to close out the year. Just as dominant. They gave up 8 points. 8 points in the year. Never gave up any points in the playoffs. But if there's a team or two that is in that category, 1985 Yates in the larger classification had a team that was incredibly dominant. But 1975 Dangerfield, they won the state championship back in 1973. They also won the state championship in 1974. They tied Salina in the state championship game, and back then, both teams won the state championship. They scored 715 points, allowed 15 in 1973. 582 points and allowed 35 in 1974. And then that wasn't enough. 824 points scored, 15 points allowed, 2,121 points scored, 65 points allowed in the 3-year stretch. They had names like Bobby Mitchell, who was unbelievable. Remember David Overstreet, the late David Overstreet, who played running back at OU during the Wishbone years and with Barry Switzer. And then he played in the NFL with the Dolphins and tragically died in a car wreck in the Winona, just south of Big Sandy. When his car, he fell asleep, lost a car, and was killed in the accident in the crash. Lovie Smith, the former NFL coach, was on that team. There's a picture, thanks to Linda Baggett, who sent that to me, of the mighty Wildcats of 1975 Big Sandy. Lovie Smith was on that team. Gary Chalk was the quarterback of that team. And I've known Gary for a long, long time because I've known Lovie Smith and others for a long, long time. And they're celebrating the 50th anniversary of what might be and probably is the most dominant team, really, if you think about it, in Texas high school football history. There are 4 players in that picture who are no longer with us. Tim Overstreet, Larry Cuba, David Overstreet, and Bill Dean. The coach of that team was Jim Norman. He passed away. And, of course, they had a huge celebration and gathering when he did. So this team was unbelievable dominant. They will play Elysian Fields, and Elysian Fields is a heavy favorite on Friday night, but they're going to celebrate 50 years of that team. Thanks to Linda Baggett for getting out and helping me know when that event was coming up. It should be one heck of a night. And I had a chance to visit with Gary Chalk, the former quarterback, about that team, that year, this weekend, and Big Sandy football and the 3 consecutive state championships. Former Big Sandy quarterback and star Gary Chalk joins me. David Smoak, 365 Sports on the High School Football Podcast. And coming up on Friday, Big Sandy will celebrate 50 years since that unbelievable team in 1975, and of course 73, 74, 74 tied, but won it all in 73, 74, and 75. And the mighty Wildcats, can you try, East Texas, that what 1980 Pittsburgh, 83 Dangerfield. There's been just unbelievable dominance single season. You guys, of course, had a great run with that in the mid-70s. When you think about it, first of all, 50 years, that's hard to explain, but what do you think about this week, Gary, looking back at 50 years ago, that 75 team?
Well, as you said, it's hard to believe it's been 50 years. It usually had to be old people have played 50 years ago. But I've been reminiscing, and people been sending us clips and different things of our team. And I tell you what, David, I'll never forget when the gentleman that was over the Harris poll at the time, he came in our dressing room after the game. And he told us, he said, fellas, I've saw every team ranked 1 in the state. He said, I would put y'all against any of them for a half. And so I thought that was a great compliment that he had saw that kind of talent. And then it was 4A and on down. But our little classification that he felt like we could still play with them.
Yeah, and there was nothing close, right? Your senior year, there was a lot of blowouts. I mean, you had an enormous amount of talent with Lovie Smith and David Overstreet and Bobby Mitchell and you. And I mean, you were a sophomore on that first state title team. There just weren't many games that pushed you guys. Was it boring?
No, it wasn't boring, and I give credit to Coach Jim Norman. He was a great motivator. And he always picked it as if we were the underdog, even though we could read the newspapers and we knew who we were playing. But he would hype us up. And I remember one time we left the dressing room to go to the pep rally, and David and Lovey was shoving each other. They were so hyped up. So I think we just knew we had to play every game, play our best, and then of course, history tells what happens when we did that.
You mentioned Lovey, former NFL head coach, took the Bears to the Super Bowl. You were there. I was there.
Yeah.
He's spending some time out of the country. He gets to travel quite a bit. Last time I talked to him, I think he just got back from Europe. But you're talking about how they were so jacked up, and yet he is someone that when you watch him, and he's an incredible friend of yours, great friend of yours, that you don't see a lot of that emotion in him. Was he different when he was a high school player?
He was different when he buckled up that chin strap. He became a different person. He even hit me too hard in practice. I had to remind him that I was his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So he could get real emotional when it came to playing. As you're right, he's more of a calm demeanor with his coaching style, but he was a rah-rah guy.
I know Linda has been putting together this 50th anniversary, Linda Baggett, and she contacted me, and I was like, golly, you got to be kidding me. And I started immediately thinking about the greatest teams of all time. When it wasn't much later, less than a decade later, of course, Dangerfield had that 83 team that was incredible. 14 shutouts, 13 straight, 8 points. You guys allowed them less than 10 points, I think it was, or close. When you saw them going through that run and it brought probably people back to your team, what was that like watching them as they were dominating?
They resembled us a lot. They had that speed and quickness.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I had started officiating football, and I had the pleasure of being on the field with them and saw them up close. And they were one of the teams that I said looked a lot like us. And I think that's what people didn't realize, that our team was so fast and quick. If you watch us, we would kick the ball off, and our kicker would kick it to probably the 5 or 10. And by then, half of our team was already down there because of the speed that we had. And that's what Dangerfield I saw in them. And then the Pittsburgh team that was good, I saw them. And so, yeah, I did see some resemblance in that. But we just had a good mix of great players. When your center could run like a 4.8 40, you're pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that was the good thing with us.
I want to put these numbers up, and numbers don't always mean anything, but this is staggering. 715 points to 15. That was 73. 582 to 35 in 74. 824 to 15. 2,121 points scored and allowed 65 over 3 years. You had the tie. What was Salina in the state championship game in 74? Right. There was no overtime back then. What does this celebration mean? Even though it was the 50th year 2 years ago, last year, and now the 50th year of this team that kind of punctuated the great dynasty.
Yeah, and David, I think because this 75 team, I think, was the best team. I had the pleasure of playing with Bobby in 73, and he was a man among boys. And then the 74 team, we played off of heart. We weren't really that good, but we played with a great heart, and we were able to tie Salina. And I'll never forget, in the dressing room after the game, one of the reporters asked me, he said, Chalk, do you think y'all will be back next year? And, a young boy, stupid, I said, of course, we'll definitely come back next year. And for us to do that and do it in the way that we did it. And a lot of people don't realize that the first 10 games, the starters didn't play but maybe a half to 3/4. So the points that were scored very quickly. And once we got up over about 40 points on somebody, the refs would run the clocks.
Right.
I can remember the clocks running while we were setting up the kickoff. And so if by, if we played a full game, there's no telling how many points we would have scored.
Yeah, and in six-man football, they have the mercy rule. You didn't have that back then.
No, we didn't. And but our coach took mercy on people, and a
Sure.
lot of people would fuss and say, y'all running up the score. But I remember playing in the second quarter. Overstreet was quarterbacking. He would move a guard to a running back, but because we were so talented, you can't tell a 16, 17, 18-year-old boy that if you break, don't score.
Oh, no,
And
yeah.
so it was just inevitable that the scores would be what they were.
Domination, and not just once, but twice, but three times. To even think about a David Overstreet, God rest his soul, after the tragedy in the 84 or 83, 84, whatever the year it was.
83, 84, yeah, somewhere in there.
When he had the car wreck in Winona, and that I was actually, believe it or not, while I was in television in Lufkin, Nacogdoches, and back then, and I don't want to get too into that, but I heard this ding, 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 and the Associated Press ticker, and it always was printing, and I read it, and I called Jerry Gumbert, who was the sports director for a long time at Channel 7, that I eventually moved up there, and he was like, "You're kidding me," and of course, a tragic day, but to have Bobby Mitchell, the level of player he was, and that's with all due respect to you and Lovey, and then David Overstreet, with those teams, they could have been stars for John Tyler at 73 at Earl. Any of those
teams. Very easily.
To compile that and have that talent in a school the size of Big Sandy is hard to imagine, Gary.
It is. And as you said, losing David. And then since then, now that we're celebrating the 50 years, I was looking at a picture, and four of the players that were on that team and contributed greatly are deceased now. David's brother, Tim was older than David and played on the line. And then Larry Cuba was all-state tackle. He's passed away. And then a gentleman that was one of our backups, he was named Bill Dean. He passed. So it's kind of bittersweet. You'd want to go back and everybody would be there.
Yep.
So I'm sure I'll drop a tear for those that are not able to be there for that reason.
You mentioned Jim Norman. He had a great run. Of course, he had success even after Big Sandy. What kind of man was he?
He was a father figure, and like I said, he was a motivator. And you have to remember, in 73, integration had just really came to be, and he was from Mississippi, of all places.
Wow.
And he was able to come in and calm our school and the players, and to teach us that we're all the same. And it's written about in a couple of books that he cut two players' fingers and the blood. He said, "Now what color is the blood?" They said, "Well, red." He said, "So y'all the same." Wow, and because of that, where a lot of schools were still having tension from the integration, we became brothers. I mean, I'm friends still to this day with some players who were not of my persuasion color, and I think that was a lot of it too. We became just a machine. That it wasn't even though Overstreet was as good as he was. Tony Newman was the other running back, and he had about 2,000 yards that year, about 2,500, and he ran the ball probably, I would say, half the times that Overstreet got it. So he was just as good and just as quick. He was just a lot smaller. So we had all of that talent and those different opinions of families and stuff, but we were all one. And that's what I think Coach Norman brought to us, and that's why we cherished him. Even in his death, we had a funeral service for him at Big Sandy.
Last question, and it's in a way kind of enjoying it, and of course you mentioned those who have passed, but I was told that if Jim Norman had to leave or had to go somewhere and couldn't be at practice, that you, Lovey, and others coached the team and nothing that you didn't miss a beat?
Well, in fact, our junior year, his father died back in Mississippi, and he had to go home for that service. And we had two brand new coaches. And back then, we only had three coaches, a head coach and two assistants. And the assistants didn't even really know a lot of the players' names. And at halftime, we were getting beat by Sabine. And the seniors of that team, they grabbed the coaches as we were going in the dressing room, and they said, look, no disrespect, but let Lovey call the defense and let Gary call the offense, and we'll win the game. And sure enough, we did. And I have to give the coaches credit. They said, okay, that'll work.
Some of them would have an ego issue there, Like,
yeah. But they could tell that the players really believed in us and that we knew the game. And I tell people this all the time. They say, well, I bet y'all practiced all the time and you ran and all. Coach Norman, our senior year, that 75 team, he never took us through our running us after practice. He would separate us by our positions and say, y'all work out yourself. You know how much work you need.
Wow.
With hindsight, he was smart because we probably worked out longer than he would have worked us out. But that's the kind of trust that he had in his players and that the players had in each other.
Unbelievable. I'm glad you guys are doing this. I think what Linda's done and to put all this together obviously is so special. And the run from 73, 74, and 75 is just unbelievable. The amount of points you didn't allow, the stories behind it. You just talked about how that team was player-led. No matter what the greatness of what Jim Norman brought to the table, and then through that desegregation and all that. I mean, that's like it's like a thing of a movie, like a documentary.
Oh, yeah. When I watched the movie, The Titans, what was it?
Yeah, Remember the Titans. Yep.
Remember the Titans. A lot of those similarities are there.
There really
Except our games weren't that close.
No, the only thing would be great if they would have come and filmed it with you guys, and you'd have gotten to meet Denzel Washington. And
he could have played me.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, unbelievable. It really is to kind of just look back at all that and to enjoy the moment. I know you will with those who can come back, those who will come back. And I've known you, Gary, forever. From the years of covering high school football in Texas and even stay in touch occasionally. God bless you. Thanks for the memory and reminiscing with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this opportunity.
All right. Gary Chalk, former Big Sandy quarterback and a part of that three-peat, the state championship teams, honoring the 50th year of perhaps the most dominant team of all time in Texas, 1975 Big Sandy. This is 365 Sports.
My go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
You have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf cart batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a T-fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Peters Ram in Longview is gearing up for this football season during the Make This the Summer event going on now. Make all the right moves by getting 25% off MSRP on new select Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cabs. The season is looking good with the largest selection of new Ram trucks at Peters Ram during the Make This the Summer event. Online at peterscars.com.
At Sturdy Steel, we build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide, we're proud of our reputation for dependable, high-quality work and strong client relationships that stand the test of time. From concept to installation, our team of skilled drafters, welders, and installers takes pride in delivering seating solutions designed to last. With a focus on dependability, transparency, and service, we are here to make the unique needs of architects, contractors, schools, and venues across the country. We ensure every project is seamless, sturdy, and ready for generations of fans to enjoy. That's Sturdy Steel. This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peter Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
Thanks to Jerry Forrest and pigskinprep.com. Every week we have the best, highest rated games. And there's a few that I tweak, but these are among the top 20 or so. I think there's 15 most every week. Best rated games according to their index of every classification. Every single team from a private 6-man school to schools that are not even a part of the UIL, but 6-man all the way up to 6A. Liberty Christian, that's the Jason Witten program, playing Plano Prestonwood, is the highest ranked game. Look at the blue. The lower the number, the higher ranked that game is. The lower the number, the better the game based on the index. All of the black numbers along the left-hand side column, those are how many points that team right next to them is favored. Anything that's in parentheses is the ranking in the index of their specific class. For example, Argyle Liberty Christian, number 1, Plano Prestonwood, number 4, Liberty Christian favored by 10. Munster and Lindsay. Munster won that game big last year, 44-0. They're only a 1-point pick this year. Salina, they keep on rolling. Now in district play. Sulphur Springs, they're pretty good. Salina, the favorite in that game by a couple of touchdowns. DeSoto Duncanville week. Yep, Duncanville lost that game a couple of weeks ago to Waxahachie. DeSoto beat Waxahachie. It's the showdown. Last year, Duncanville won by 22. DeSoto a slight favorite in that game. I mentioned Summer Creek, the big win against Atascocita. Not any easier this week as they play C.E. King in a battle of very good, very, very good 6A teams. Kilgore, only loss was that opening game against Carthage. They're playing Chapel Hill. They're a heavy favorite. They beat Henderson, their arch rival, last week, and they now get Chapel Hill with Jeff Reardon and that team. The Bulldogs ought to be interesting, but Kilgore a heavy favorite. Newton, 2-touchdown pick to beat Woodville, who played for a state championship last year. Frankston unbeaten. They are a 16-point pick to play and beat Mildred High School. Alamo Heights out of San Antonio against Victoria West, a pick'em game. Basically, Alamo Heights, the Mules, are a 1-point favorite. Argyle and Seguin, really close, 10-point game. Last year, Argyle won 36-7. La Vega, they are really good despite, their non-district schedule, stupid good. Stephenville's one of them. Obviously, Salina's another. And La Vega's a 3-touchdown pick against unbeaten Gatesville. Midlothian Heritage, a 5-point pick against unbeaten Terrell. Then you have Mount Enterprise, Kagan Ash, the running back we've been keeping up with, against Grapeland. That ought to be a heck of a game. You have Hampshire Finette and Silsby down in the Beaumont Triangle area. And then Grand Saline with Jed Drennan, the head coach at Grand Saline against Edgewood. They got a quarterback in Trevor Golightly who's putting up 350, 400 yards a game and throwing for a lot of touchdowns. Last year, shootout, Grand Saline won 75-40. When we come back, it will be week number 8 of the Texas high school football season. We'll look back at the best wins, maybe a couple of, whoa, what happened there? Some of the individual efforts and games and stats. We'll see what Kagan Ash did next week. And then, of course, we'll have an interview for you about Texas high school football featuring a program. For Garrett Ross and our great sponsors, I'm David Smoak. Thank you for your time. This is Smoaky.com and 365 Sports.
Go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
Do you have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf cart batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Peters Ram in Longview is gearing up for this football season during the Make This the Summer event going on now. Make all the right moves by getting 25% off MSRP on new select Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cabs. The season is looking good with the largest selection of new Ram trucks at Peters Ram during the Make This the Summer event. Online at peterscars.com.
At Sturdy Steel, we build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide, we're proud of our reputation for dependable, high-quality work and strong client relationships that stand the test of time. From concept to installation, our team of skilled drafters, welders, and installers takes pride in delivering seating solutions designed to last. With a focus on dependability, transparency, and service, we are here to make the unique needs of architects, contractors, schools, and venues across the country. We ensure every project is seamless, sturdy, and ready for generations of fans to enjoy. That's Sturdy Steel. This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peter Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
We have documented the story, Longview football. Oscar Wilson, longtime assistant coach, running backs coach, assistant head coach for the Lobos, joined us the week that the news came down. In fact, John King shared it with me and a couple other guys that we know that he was going to have surgery because of mouth cancer. And so he was out for a little bit. And I know that had to frustrate the heck out of him because he loves football and the kids that he coaches in the community of Longview. And he's on camera. He came back last week. First came back. Here's a picture of Coach King and Haynes on the field prior to the game against Rockwall. Huge game in 6A. And he came back. I know that had to. Did you know he was coming back?
No, I didn't. I woke up Thursday night, well, early Friday morning, like 1:30. He's standing over in my bed, and it scared the hell out of me.
Hey, I think he can handle you now, man. He's that's shoulders. I don't know, Dad. I think he might be able to start telling you what to do.
No. He got more money in his bank account than I do. Let's put it
no, my goodness. Yeah.
But
well, I saw that picture. That came from Ginger Cannon. I wanted to share that off the top. How you feeling, first of all? Let's get to that.
Feeling good, Smoky. And, I came back open week for a couple of days and watched practice. And, and then last week I was able to come back and the whole week and, like you said, go to the game. And really feeling a lot better, getting better by the day. Still got to improve some of my speech from, getting my tongue. Half my tongue cut off, basically how to put it, but that's getting better, feeling better, getting stronger. And you hit the nail on the head. I needed to be around these kids more than they needed me. Coach and just the everyday grind. I love being on the team. I love being part of the team. And I missed it. And, you really don't know how special something is when you got it anymore. But in my absence, I never was worried. I think our coaches did a great job. Our players did a great job of keeping, the things together and building this team. I know we lost a couple of tough games, but, we lost those last year with me here too, so it ain't because of me. But there's no doubt we had the best person in the world running this program, Coach Wilson, being the head of it. And we've had so much stability with other coaches being on staff, so it just kind of runs itself.
Yeah, Coach joined us. It's been a while, 3 or 4 weeks ago. But heck, you lost to what, Lancaster and Ruston, both tight bang games. But that's the games. Those are the games you play whether you were there or not, and what Longview expects to play in non-district. So you were on the field for that picture, and eventually you go up into the press box on headsets. What was it like just to be a part of that environment? To at least was it Matthew Prosser said people wanted to know whether or not he would just be up in the press box without being on the headsets. And he said, there's no way John King's got a headset without being able to coach and talk.
Well, it's the first time since 1998 I've been in the press box. In 1998, Coach Collins, he told me, and I'll tell you verbatim what he said. That ass on this field to coach his team. Because we had some young coaches, he was worried about, them controlling the sideline. So I went to the sideline then, and I've been on the sideline ever since. But it was neat getting back to go back up. I love coaching from the press box. I miss the sideline part of it. But as far as the view, and seeing the alignment and the execution of the plays and what all was going on. You can see everything. It's kind of like watching tape to me. And but yeah, I had the headset on. Yes, I was coaching. Yes, I was excited. I think the coaches in the press box that were with me, they all kind of got entertained because they hadn't seen that side of me. I even talked a little trash, but not at people, but when we did things the right way, and it was just look, I ain't gonna say it was arrogance, but more of confidence that got it done. But it was neat, and I asked them afterwards. I said, "Guys, I hope I wasn't too overbearing." They said, "Coach, this is the most fun we had all year." Good.
Yeah. I was going to say, listen, I know this is a serious matter because of what you dealt with and in the surgery and parts of you mentioned your tongue. But I was wondering if some of those coaches or maybe your wife said, "Hey, no, take part of that, take more of it out because of your sarcasm and in that little wicked tongue you have."
Yeah, she probably won't take it all the way.
Just kidding with you.
But yeah,
about that.
It's been good. My coaches, the great people, great for our kids, but they've been so supportive of me and understanding. So,
how tired were you when you got home?
I was worn down, and it was. I felt it the next day, but about noon the next day, I started feeling better. Just having some problems sleeping. I never do sleep really good anyway during football season, but that night wore me out, and I wanted to do it to see how I would be able to handle, this coming week with playing and then going. I'm going to Georgia Tech, watch Haynes in place. I'm gonna suck it up, Lobo up. I'm gonna make that trip, but I think I'm strong enough now. My biggest deal, Smoky, was just not the tongue and the mouth surgery, but I'd had gout in my joints for about 2 weeks, and I couldn't do anything. It really set me back strength wise. And finally got that better where I could get around and move and started doing some rehab and strengthening and all that stuff. So I just started feeling better every day. And that was the biggest thing that caused a lot of my weakness, in terms of that. But as far as the mouth part and the tongue part, it really wasn't a lot of soreness. I had my I don't know all the medical terms. They took lymph nodes out, so that was part of what created some of it too, the stiffness and soreness. So they removed 35 lymph nodes, and so it was a major deal. Now it looked like I'd been through hell and back, and I felt like it some days.
Well, if anyone can get through it and be an inspiration, and that's the word. Oscar Wilson sent me this note about such an inspiration for all of us in the community by the way he's handling the issues with his health, face on, confronting them with an attitude of whatever it takes for him to get ready for the challenge. So you're going to coach, and then you're going to get to the Georgia Tech game. You're going to do like you were doing anyway. That's what you had been doing up until the setback, right?
Yep. I'm going to make that trip Saturday morning, fly to Shreveport, and fly back in Sunday about noon. Be back in the office. That's the plan. So I think I'm strong enough. As far as walking and getting around the stadium, it's going to be more so about my diet and what I can eat and having stuff available to eat and hydrate to make sure I don't try to do too much, But I've been out in the heat at practice. I don't think the heat's going to get me, and I got some friends at Georgia Tech that can take care of me if I need to.
John, I can't imagine one getting back to the field house and then getting back to practice and then getting into a game situation. What was when you're in the hospital and people start to visit you, or if the first time you saw any of your players, and I don't know how all that went or what they could actually do or who could be around you, but the first time you saw a player or your team or a group of them after the surgery, what was that like for you?
It was extremely emotional. Brought tears to my eyes because I'd missed them. And laying there, you don't know what's going to happen. If you'll ever see them again, or be back again, And the one thing I will say is that, I had my surgery at Christmas Good Shepherd. And they did a great job of taking care of me and really my privacy and my family. And very grateful for that because, there was a lot of people that were reaching out and wanting to come by, and I really couldn't handle the crowd and the visitors in the shape I was in. I was 6 days in ICU, I think. And, it ain't one of them outpatient deals I went through. It was pretty strenuous. So, but they did a great job of taking care of me, and all the doctors, and the ones that started this process, the ones that did the surgery, and very thankful for that. But getting back, like I said, being part of the team again, being around the coaches, walking in that weight room, talking to them for the first time, it was emotional. And I can tell you, Friday when I got on that bus, going to Rock Wall, I got emotional. I videoed it and pulling off the campus. Lobo won, and cops giving us that escort going to play football again. Made me feel like I was alive again, and something I'd really missed.
Did you ever truly have the thought you would never coach again?
Never crossed my mind. It's whether people could handle my speech. Could they understand me? As far as everything else, I was told I'd be able to. Some of the stuff, I don't look the same. I've lost some weight. I got, like I tried to cut my dang neck off, but you got to get my speech right. But let me tell you something. Like and this don't take long. I really ain't never cared what it looked like. I just cared about getting the job done. So if I ain't embarrassing my team and my coaches and Lobo Nation, and I ain't worried about nothing else. That's what's important to me. But my speech will get better. I'm gonna work at it just like I work at everything else. That's gonna come. It'll take time. And the new norm is gonna be the new norm. But mind's still good. Body's still willing to work. I love the game of football. I love coaching these kids. I love Longview. So as long as they'll have me, I'm gonna give it everything I got.
Do you understand your impact inside that city with you and your wife and obviously your children? But you probably felt the appreciation, although with coaches, you lose a game, man, things can change no matter what. But do you understand what you mean to that community?
I do now. But what that community means to me, like I tell our kids, I go a lot of places. Everybody knows who I am. It ain't because of me, it's because of the Longview Lobos and what this program is. I just happen to be the head coach. But it really ain't me. It's this football team, this football program, and Lobo Nation. It's kind of a big part of who John King is. I just happen to be the one that gets the credit or the blame for it, but I don't think there's a question how much I love these kids and these coaches and coaching here in Longview, Texas. And I've told people this, and I truly mean it. This is it for me. When they tell me they time to go out to pasture, then I'm through coaching. Or when I decided time to retire, they fire me, whatever it comes to be. This is, and I'm not complacent. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a perfect fit for me in terms of location, in terms of community, in terms of the kids we coach, the administration of this high school, the administration of this district, the vision we have. And Longview, Texas, you can still coach kids tough. You can still be tough on them. And ain't many places you can do that. And we're fortunate. World's changing a lot of ways. But I can tell you one thing. The toughness that they have in East Texas, in particular here at Longview High School, that's not changing. And I hope it never does. But it's like I say, it's just been a perfect fit. I'm not going to say it's always been a bed of roses because I know we probably should have won more than we have. And, I want to win every game just like everybody else does, but I'm proud of what we built. I'm proud of what we've been able to sustain and where we're at, and I think it's just it's a community team. And this, like I said, my name just happened to be on top of the list of it.
In 1984, I moved from Lufkin, Nacogdoches and TV up to Tyler, Longview, working for Channel 7. And I remember my first story I did was out there on the stadium with Doug Cox as the head coach. And, of course, Robert Biro and Pat Collins. And then imagine this, John, that a guy from Louisiana and Pat Collins and John Barry and others came over into the state of Texas and created what was already one hell of a program and built it to what the expectations are. And yeah, you said, there were times you should have won another state championship or two. They're hard. They're hard to do. And thank God you got one. But that you were a Louisiana boy, and now you are just core of one of the best, if not the best, one-horse town football cities, towns, and communities, to me, in America.
Well, it's been one heck of a ride. When I first got here, I wasn't sure if we'd make it a year, much less. I've been here now 26 years, 22nd as a head coach, and just flown by. But, I give credit to all those guys you mentioned, from, Doug Cox, B-Row, Coach Collins. I mean, I didn't start this here. I mean, it was going here before. I just helped get the ship headed in the right direction. And we still have the same core beliefs they had here since the 70s. Being a physical football team, running the football and playing good defense. That is the core beliefs we have. And, but it takes outstanding coaches and support from administration to make it all happen. I mean, we're aligned correctly the way you got to be. And I love doing it. I love doing it with our own kids. I mean, we don't get a lot of move-ins. We don't have a lot of transfers coming in here. These are homegrown kids we do it with. So we develop what we have and play with what we got. And, I think it goes back to kids, wanting to grow up and be a Lobo and the toughness they play with. I mean, they playing for something bigger than themselves. They're playing for home. They're playing for the high school. They're playing for family, relatives that play here before. So a lot easier to get motivated to play and create together instead of ways than it is with.
I've always said this, and I mean this, and because I broadcast games, that, for Lee, now Legacy, and other games too, that I don't know of a more passionate fan base, and then also tough as hell. Like I said, you represent that with what you're dealing with. Tough as hell. I mean, I don't think I ever saw a game where Longview may have lost, but where they didn't play like there was the last play of their lifetime. Yeah. That's, to me, kind of the standard of the Lobos.
Well, that's where our kids grow up. That's how they play. Tough. And we feed off of that. We ain't the biggest. We're not going to win the get off the bus contest. We may not go win the 4x100 meter relay. Have a 10, 200 meter gap. I can tell you one thing. We have 11 guys out there that's going to get after your ass one way or the other. That's how we play. And that's what they believe in, and that's what we've won a bunch of ball games with.
Yeah.
A lot of years, so I think that's always been a Longview, just tough ass kids. And, it still wins. You still win ball games. Play tough and play good defense, and it don't matter if it's sunshine, or rain, or cold. It still wins.
I have to ask this: when you're in the press box, and I know I want to let you go because you need to calm down, rest a little bit too. Although this is all part of practice of getting back in a lot of ways. In the press box, could you start to hear the Lobo barking from the crowd? Can you? Because that's something I didn't get goosebumps. That was something when you're at we're at Lobo Stadium. That's just part of the deal. What was it like when you heard those barks start coming from the crowd?
I could hear it over the coaches' headphone mics.
Okay.
Deal, but let me tell you something. When they start barking and that band starts playing and they start chanting Lobos, it does make the hair stand up on the back of your neck now. You can't get excited about that. You're in your own profession, and it does. It's something I miss, something I love hearing, because when they go to beating them drums and them tubas start playing and them Lobo fans start howling and barking, game time.
I brought up Haynes. He was there. Your daughter, of course, very much involved, but Jody and where she has been with you and by your side throughout this. Did you ever did you ever frustrate her? And what was that like along the way?
Frustrated every day. She's tough now.
Oh, I know.
When I was laying there and couldn't really get up and do a whole lot because of the gout, she said, "Get your ass up and move. You gotta get up and move around." I had to get up and move. I'd try, but she's tough. Yeah, she's been tough on both of them kids. She's been a really good mother, and she's been a great wife to me, a great coach's wife. But she treats me like she does them kids. She's gonna get you going. She's gonna speak her mind. So, but fortunate to have her and have the support, that I get from not only her but kids, you know. So I've been proud of both of them. And I told all of them. And Jody had to miss the Georgia Tech game. I said, one thing, you're not gonna miss the game because of me. This is your son's senior year. You get on them planes, you go watch him play, and I'll find a way. Somebody will watch after me. Don't watch. So I didn't want her missing that. I would feel guilty about it, but she's been good.
Your son is as tough as anything else. Of course, the coach there, he kind of reminds me of you. That toughness. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Haynes says. He said, reminds me of you, Dad. I said, well, he must be a good guy.
That's great.
I had a feeling when I met Coach Keith I just had that feeling about the man. I said, well, he's going to take care. And he promised, he said, I can promise you one thing, I'll take care of your son.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Yep.
John, last thing, and I have to. You mentioned you're going to get your speech. You're going to get that. People have bit their tongue. It's nothing. You know, it's you and tooth removed. I've had a couple pulled, whatever. But what you're going through and the fact you did the interview means the world to me too. And good to see your face. I just think you maybe sound even more country than you did before.
I should take that as a compliment.
That's absolutely a compliment. And we love you. I love you. And Lobo Nation and high school football for what you've meant to the state of Texas. Good to see your face. Good luck this week. Great win against Rockwell. I know they're very good. And just day by day, my man. Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you, Smoak. And I can tell you this. You're the first on-camera interview I've done because I love you and what you've done for football in the state of Texas, and particularly East Texas and Longview. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, man, you're just going to give me goosebumps all day. John King, love you to death. Thank you very much for your time. Back with more the Elite Games of the Week coming up next on Smoaky.com, 365 Sports, and John King. What a story and inspiration at Longview High School.